Dividing fractions. Dividing fractions is a little bit more complicated than multiplying fractions, but not by much. In order to understand how to divide fractions, first of all, we have to know what is a reciprocal. A reciprocal. A reciprocal is a fraction when multiplied by another fraction, it equals 1. So for example, 2/3 times 3/2 equals 6/6. Remember, I multiply across the bottom, which equals 1. So we would say 2/3 and 3/2 are reciprocals of each other. Notice that it's very easy to identify a reciprocal because it's simply the fraction flipped. I flipped 2/3 to make 3/2. That is the reciprocal. So the reciprocal is when I multiply a fraction by another fraction that equals 1. That is a reciprocal, and it is always the fraction flipped. Now what happens if I have a whole number? For example, what would 9's reciprocal be? Well, we know any whole number we can write as a fraction by simply putting it over 1. So if I want to write the reciprocal, remember I flip it. So that's going to be 1/9. Again, if I multiply, that's going to be 9/9, which equals 1. So that is a reciprocal. Now, when I'm dividing fractions, it's important to know what a reciprocal is. For example, if I want to divide 2/3 divided by 1/2. When I divide fractions, I simply flip the second number and then multiply. I write the reciprocal of the second number. So 1/2 flipped, the reciprocal is 2/1. And then I multiply across the top, across the bottom, that gives me 4/3. That's an improper fraction, so I would want to write it as a proper fraction, as a mixed number. Remember, the top number goes inside, bottom goes outside. That's 1. I have 1 left over, 1 remainder. I put that over 3. 1 1/3 would be my answer. That is dividing fractions. So when I divide fractions, I write the reciprocal of the second number. I flip it, and then I simply multiply like I would multiply normally.